welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Sol Nieves. Thank you so much for joining us again on another week of a lot of great tips, honestly. So if you did not subscribe, please subscribe to my YouTube channel down below. So I am a licensed realtor here in Central Texas, which covers Fort Hood, Austin, Lampasas, you name it, I cover it. And I also cover Hawaii, right? The beautiful island of Hawaii. That's where I started my journey, and I am passionate about what I do. And yeah, I do service that area. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to comment down below or send me an email. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. So for today's episode, we're covering 10 great tips about VA home loans, right? So VA home loan is a loan that you get if you serve in the military of some sort, Marines, Air Force, Army, and you get to buy a home, right, after a certain amount of days. So after 90 days, you get to buy a home if you served in the military, if you got honorable discharge, and you guys get to start your journey on building wealth. Honestly, a lot of times when I was in the military, we did not speak about home loans, the VA home loans. We didn't speak about what it took to get there. So that's where my passion is all about. I want to make sure that I educate you guys the best way that I can. So now let's get started. Okay, so tip number one is to find a lender that understands VA home loans. Not every lender is cut the same, right? No harm, no foul. Some lenders just kind of, focus on other loan types other than VA home loans. And this home loan is very unique, right? There's a lot of few things that we're gonna go over that is not similar to other loans. So just make sure that you understand, you had that conversation with the lender and ask them, hey, do you have any experience with working with a military member? Have you done them? If so, how many? And how has your experience been, right? Think about the lender as your financial advisor, one that's gonna walk you through the whole process from the beginning to the very end. So don't be scared, okay? All right, tip number two, find a realtor that also understands VA home loans. What good is it that you have a lender, right, that knows the math and understands the whole process, but then the realtor that she's pretty much writing your offers, right? She's writing your offers, she's battling out for you in the market, so she has to understand, what's gonna benefit you, right? How to portray to you, the bigger picture of how this works for your situation, right? So just understand that you need a team of people that has done this process before, or have a good team behind them that can lead the way and can help them get there, right? So just understand that this is a team effort. All right, so tip number three, allow your team to educate you, right? So one of the steps that I do with my buyers is we do a buyer's consultation. What is a buyer's consultation? Okay, so this is a moment where you and I will have a conversation about what's important to you, right? Do you have a family? Are you PCSing? Is this your first time buying a house? Like all the little things that you guys may be worried about, right? So I want to make sure that I get that all in, write them down and make sure that I get to educate you on what's best for you on the market, right? The market changes all the time, and we need to make sure that you understand you're fully equipped, right? Before we head on and just start tackling the market. So the same thing with the lender. We have to allow the lender to explain to you the numbers, right? This real estate industry is a numbers game. So we gotta make sure that you understand before we hit the market, right, what your numbers are gonna look like. Because once we submit that offer, we're pretty much not waiting. We submitted a bid basically, and we need to make sure that the other parties know that this is our best shot, right? So just allow us to educate you. Maybe some lenders, right, that I've worked with or that are out there, they provide seminars, right? They allow, to sit in the seminar. All of these things are for free, right? You can go in person, you could go on Zoom, and we just gonna explain to you how the process works and other success stories so you guys can feel empowered that you guys can tackle this industry. Trust me, it's possible. Don't get scared. All right, tip number four, right? So no down payment. What does that mean? Okay, great. So when you're doing a conventional loan, which is more of a civilian sector loan, very common, or an FHA, also civilian, loans that you didn't have to serve in the military for, those loans require you to do a down payment. The down payment varies. I'm just gonna throw some percentages out there, but at the end of the day, talk to your lender, your local lender. For conventional, usually just for layman's terms, you need 20%. You can do a lot less, but just average, you need 20% to kind of minimize the insurance on the loan, right? And for FHA, on average, it's about 3.5% that you have to put down. That's a lot of money for a lot of people, right? But for VA home borrowers, you don't need no down payment. That's the great part. You don't need a down payment. You need closing cost assistance, right? So closing costs is just fees, right? Because it's myself, it's the lenders, it's title company, it's attorneys, everyone in the background working for you, right? So they need to get paid for this, you know, for the process, right? It's not a lot of money, but they do need to get paid, and that's how they get paid, and all the little intricate fees. But you know, once we get in the process of, you know, real estate, we'll go over that, no worries. There are some options for you guys to get down payment assistance, you know, / closing cost assistance for you guys, so don't worry. But that's the gem about a VA home loan. You don't need a down payment, but you do need closing costs. There's a difference, right? Down payment is towards 20% on the big number, right? So let's say, you know, $500,000. Let's pull out the calculator. Ding, 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 ding. So it's $500,000, 20% of that is $10,000. Do you have $10,000 plus closing costs? That could be a lot of money for a lot of people. I don't know, some people a little rich. But I'm just saying, right, you know, if we could save, we'll just try to save. That's kind of like my style. All right, so tip number 5. Oh my God, I love this tip. So as a military member, right, oftentimes you guys are all over the world. You guys are in Alaska, you know, Cuba, South America, Hawaii, wherever the case may be. And oftentimes you guys are asking, hey, can I still buy a house while I'm PCSing, I'm gonna get there in a month, can I still buy? Yes, you can still buy. That's the beautiful part about it, right? I've worked with tons of buyers that are been out of state, and they're coming in at the end of the year or a few weeks or a few months. And you know, like I said, we do the prior consultation to kind of know your timeline. That's very important. And once we know your timeline, we can backtrack from that and kind of just assess and build a plan, right? I'm a veteran, so I like to build little ops and little plans to make sure that you guys are getting taken care of the best way that you can, right? And it's important. I know that a lot of times people, you know, are PCSing from different states, and it's very challenging to come to a new place and try to either stay in a hotel for 10 days or, you know, come out of pocket. So if we can save you money by having you guys, you know, simultaneously as you guys are packing over there with all the movers, I can help you guys here find the house. So by the time you guys get here, you guys are moving in, right? Doesn't that sound good? That sounds good to me. I'm just saying. All right. Tip number 6. It coincides with tip number 5. So oftentimes people ask, okay, well, if I, you know, PCS there August 1st, how quick or what's the longest period of time I can, you know, not be in the home, right? So let's say you close August 1st. Technically, you don't have to move in after 60 days after closing, right? So that gives you room to get here, I don't know, October 1st, right? Because the market could be insane sometime depending on where you are. Realtors, don't kill me. And we want to make sure that if we have the time to shop around for a house and just do it without stress, minimal stress, and once we get in the house and we close, we could just be like, you know what, so hold my keys, I'll be there in the next few weeks. So just remember, you have 60 days from the time of closing to by the time you get here to, you know, to own the home and not be in jeopardy with your VA home loan. So just know that. That's very valuable information. All right, tip number 7. Okay, so depends on the state. Like I said, I cover Hawaii and I cover Texas. So one of the things as a VA home borrower, you want to do a home inspection and a termite inspection on your home. The process of what that looks like is very different for every state, but in Texas, once we get under contract, we're gonna, you know, I'm gonna be contacting these home inspectors and check their availability. Once I check the availability, I am getting them there as soon as possible. Like I said, if you're not here, that's okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna FaceTime you. We're gonna go over the report line by line to make sure that whatever you guys want to repair is completed on time, or if you guys want any credit. So technically in Texas, like, if you want to opt out of doing a home inspection, you can, or if the seller has done one already and is on record and you guys want to use them, you can do that, right? I just highly advise you to do your own home inspection, because either the home inspection on file could be outdated, or we're missing and we're bypassing some major deficiencies in a home that once we close, we can't go back. But right, one of the things that's important that we have to do is a termite inspection. So those are those little bugs that eat wood, right? And termites could be seen in different phases. I learned a few weeks ago, there's so many types of termites, which is pretty cool, different, disgusting, but whatever. In Hawaii is a whole different story. But that's one thing you do have to do in Texas, is a termite inspection. So we just want to make sure that the house has no bugs, the house is not being destroyed by some insects. That usually is not that expensive, about $75 to $150, depending on the company and the square footage of the home and the age and all that little good stuff. But don't worry, I got you. I just want to let you know that a home inspection is not necessarily, for the state of Texas, is obligated, but a termite inspection you definitely have to do. Okay, so now tip number 8. Okay guys, if you're a math person, you're gonna like this. If you're not, that's okay. Don't worry, I got you. Okay. So there's something called an appraisal waiver. Now stay with me. What is that? That sounds pretty technical. Okay. So once let's say you see a house today, once again for $500,000, and you love it. Oh my God, this is great. And you're a VA buyer, right? Oftentimes you guys are worried about, well, am I gonna pay too much for a house? Especially if the market is so insane. Then what do I do? Despite the fact that you may get approved for, let's say, hypothetically speaking, like, I don't know, $700,000, right? And you say, so this is the house I want, I just can't stop thinking about it, all this other stuff. Okay, so let's say your best foot, like you're gonna, put forward is $550,000 for the house. Great. Now you're going $50,000 over. Once again, you're worried about, is this too much for this house? I just don't want to lose it, so I'm gonna do my best, which is great. I applaud you for that. So an appraiser, he's ordered by the lender. So once we get on the contract, your lender is going to order an appraiser, which is un tasador in Spanish, if you know it that way. And his job is to identify what the house is worth, right? Me as a realtor and the other realtor, we do our best, like, guesstimate, honestly, on what the house could appraise for, so we could justify the price that we offer, right? But at the end of the day, within 3 weeks, the appraiser is going to truly identify what the house is worth based off of his assessment, right? So let's say, hypothetically speaking, the house you offered at $550, it came back at $520, right? $520,000. Now we have a gap of $30,000. Now, what do you do when it's a gap of 30 G's? You're like, oh my God, I don't have $30,000. We have a few options here as a VA buyer, right? So as a VA buyer, you can tell the seller, hey seller, can you bring your price from $550,000, which we offer, to $520,000, because that's what the appraiser appraised it at, right? We can see if he's willing to negotiate. Second thing they can do is they can truly just ask you, hey, are you willing to bring any cash to the table to fill in the gap, which is called an appraisal gap? From $520 to $550, can you bring absolutely anything? $5,000, $2,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever you can afford. It's just voluntary, right? In the state of Texas. Or if you say, you know what, this house was great, I loved it, I just don't have $30,000, I don't have anything to bring to the table, and then we've identified that the seller does not want to come down his price because he's just like, you know what, this house is awesome, I'm not going to sell it for less, I'm sorry. You guys can walk away, right? And you guys are still going to get your earnest money back. That's great, right? For other loan types, it could get a little bit more technical and hectic. So just know that you're covered there. The VA is not going to allow you to buy something that is not worth the money, right? Just like when you go to the mall and you bought some J's and they were great, and you bought it for $500, and somebody's trying to lowball you, and be like, you know what, I'm going to give you $200 for that. No. You're like, no, I spent $500. I know what it's worth, right? So it's just the same point. Make sure that you understand, regardless of how much you offer on any house, you're not going to overpay when you use a VA loan, because the appraiser is the one with the hammer. He's the one that's going to say, you know what, this house is not worth it, and you guys hear your options. So just know that. I got your back, but just understand that you're covered. All right. Tip number 9. So one of the things that I get asked a lot is, okay, so I want to buy a house. I'm not going to stay in Fort Hood for too long, but what's the minimum requirement of my stay? As a VA buyer, you must stay in the house or intend to stay in the home or intend to occupy the home as your primary residence for up to 1 year. Yes, up to 1 year, 365 days. Let's say that the Army changes its mind and is like, you know what, you're a high-speed soldier, you're gonna go to drill sergeant school, or you're gonna become a recruiter. Hey, at that point, you did not forecast that, right? So the military orders will cut that, and you guys could, move away. No harm, no foul. You guys could rent the home if you like, because your initial intention were to stay in the house for up to a year, and that didn't happen because the military had other plans for you, like they always do. So just don't be afraid. No one's gonna knock on your door and check if you've been there for a year, but just know that you are signing something that saying, hey, my intention is for this house to be my primary residence, and I'm gonna live here for up to 1 year. So just know that. Okay, so tip number 10. All right, so this is so awesome. This is why I love what I do, because I just did it now for the first time, and it's gonna completely change my life and my generation. So one of the things that I did, and you can do as well, is as a VA buyer, like I said, you can stay in the home. Your intention is to stay in the home for up to 1 year, right? So what happens after that? If you say, you know what, so I love Fort Hood, I bought this house, it was too small for me, and my family has grown, and you pass that year mark, you can buy a second house with the VA home loan, and you actually don't have to do anything with that first one. You can leave it as is. If you wanted to refinance, we could talk about that later. But honestly, you can rent that one home and then buy a second one and buy a third one and build generational wealth. That's the whole key component about a VA home loan. There's so many benefits to it that I don't want you guys to lose on it. Honestly, these are 10 amazing tips that I just gave you guys. Just soak it in. Like I said, if you have any questions, you guys can email me. You guys can comment down below. Like, just take advantage. You guys are sitting on gold, and I would love to help you guys. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys for being here today. And I'll see you guys next week. Mwah. Bye.